About how every vote's going to count in the battleground states. Those include the votes cast by Americans who are living abroad. There are about 1.6 million people living overseas from the 7 swing states. And Republicans, well, they are hell-bent on making it harder for their votes to be counted. Republicans had filed lawsuits in Michigan, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania challenging the legitimacy of ballots cast from citizens abroad, including, get ready for this, military members. But state election officials and voting rights groups are pushing back against those suits. Joining us now from Germany, Susan Sweeney, President and CEO of the U.S. Vote Foundation and founder of Overseas Vote.
Susan, welcome. It's so good to see you. And for disclosure for our audience, I chair the U.S. Vote Foundation. It's a non-profit, partisan organization that is solely focused on getting voters information about their rights to vote. And Susan, this issue around voting here at home is crazy and gnarly and difficult at times, and we see that. But people oftentimes don't realize we have a lot of Americans who live abroad, who work abroad, our servicemen and women who are serving on foreign soil. You know, as an estimated 4.4 million U.S. citizens lived abroad in 2022, and about 2.8 million of them were 18 years or older. The U.S. Vote Foundation's work to keep voters abroad informed and engaged and reassure that their votes will count is an important part of that work. How does that play out, particularly in this environment where seemingly the Republican Party, my party, unfortunately, are out there attacking overseas voters?
Well, I guess it's no surprise that disinformation would sweep up new groups of voters this year. I guess I was a bit surprised to see that it would actually extend to our U.S. troops and their families who vote when they're away from their domicile, whether that's within the U.S. or outside of it, and to U.S. overseas citizens. Let me emphasize the fact that we are U.S. citizens, and we do carry the right to vote. It is codified in federal law, and we plan on voting this year. There's been a lot of attention on the overseas vote this year because it's completely unoptimized. There's so many overseas voters out there and military voters and their families who have the right to vote who actually haven't taken advantage of that. The turnout rate is less than 8%, even in the best of years. So there has been concerted effort upon it to bring out more of the overseas vote, and we welcome this attention. In fact, I need to thank you for covering this very important topic that has brought with it some scrutiny, but we're ready.
Susan, I just want to give folks some of the numbers that you just mentioned. So absentee voting deadlines have loomed for troops and their families. This specifically, about 3/4 of the 1.4 million active duty members are eligible to vote by absentee ballot because they're stationed away from their voting residence. In addition, their families can vote by absentee ballot. And then you have this reporting from Newsweek that talks about the fact that Americans living abroad could actually swing key states. It notes Joe Biden won Georgia in the 2020 presidential election by only 11,779 votes. We all know that number. A substantially smaller number than the 18,475 overseas votes counted for the state. And they cite Arizona. Biden won the state by a little over 10,000 votes. And then there are 18,435 overseas votes that were counted. More numbers for North Carolina. So this is, I think the increased intention is because there are some in this country, and I mean, I want to be very specific, disproportionately members of the Republican Party apparatus who feel as though more voters means that they could potentially not do as well. But I think that, you know, there are Republicans that are registered abroad, right? There are independents, and yes, there are Democrats. And so this effort to essentially disenfranchise these voters isn't just hurting one political party, it is hurting voters across the political spectrum.
That is such a good point. We are as diverse a population as the U.S.-based population. We are students studying abroad, traveling people, retirees abroad, working people, those who are serving our country in the military and as diplomats, missionaries, aid workers. We are all over the map. And the mistake made in the math there is to assume that votes that come in from overseas or from military members are all for one specific party. They're not. I mean, it's nice to see that we're all more aware of the fact that the overseas vote could come in greater numbers. We have yet to see any proof of that. We hope that this year it will be better for the added attention that has been given to it and the increased outreach. That would be a first. I can understand that some people have their knickers in a twist because they think, oh, we're going to get an avalanche of ballots from abroad, but that has yet to be seen. I hope it does happen, but again, wishful thinking.
Michael, I just want to kick this over to you really quickly. I'm not sure if you saw this headline from Media Matters about a conspiracy theory about overseas voting spread from an election denial website to Trump and now to the MAGA media infrastructure. It's falling in with their many conspiracies and lies about how there is cheating that is on the brink of happening.
No, that's exactly right. And Susan, speak to us, if you could, real quickly about the Uniformed and Overseas Citizens Absentee Voting Act, which is now the center of Donald Trump and Republicans' attack against overseas voting. What is it, very quickly, and what is the impact of these attacks?
It's important to remember that voting absentee within the military started way back in the Civil War. It was first codified around the time of the Second World War, and then subsequent legislation followed in 1955, 1975, and then under the Reagan administration in 1986, the Uniformed and Overseas Citizens Absentee Voting Act, UOCAVA, big vocabulary word for some, that came into being, and we still operate under it. It has been amended and even improved since then, but largely this is our law. I think, hey, open season, I guess, but let's just look at one really important thing, timing. Timing is everything. It puts these lawsuits into, question. It's a little bit suspect that ballots have already been requested from our military and overseas voters. They continue to be because deadlines haven't fallen in all states. Ballots have started going out for overseas and military voters as of 45 days prior to the election. That's specified as part of the law. So that was September 21st. Look at us now. We're in October. We welcome the questions. We'd love more attention on the overseas and military voting process, but let's save that for after a winner is declared.
Susan Sweeney, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this morning.